Go ahead and put your balls on the table, you know what I'm saying? Put your music out. Let's see how many other people feel the same way that you feel. You cannot be scared to fail. Life is all about sacrifice. You set certain goals and you accomplish them. This is my passion, this is what I live for. We're on the record.
Ludacris,
Yes, sir.
on the record with Fuse.
The record is on.
Talk a lot about sex, racy stuff in your lyrics.
Absolutely.
So this is from personal experience, no doubt.
Yeah, some of it definitely from personal experience, but I can give you a great example which will let you know that some of it is definitely my imagination. When I made my first song, What's Your Fantasy? Of course, I hadn't been a commercially successful rapper at that time. So basically, all these things that I'm saying sexually in this song, a lot of those things were a fantasy. Of course. I would say that at this point in my career, it's mostly from experience.
You once tweeted about where's the line between being open in bed and being a freak? But I put the question to you. Where is the line where you become a certified freak?
Man, I think for me, it all depends on who you're with or what exactly it is that you're doing. But if you have someone that you care about, that you're in a relationship with, man, it all depends on what one's opinion of freak is. So that's what it comes down to. What can I say? I'm openly admitting it, I'm a freak.
New album, Battle of the Sexes.
Yes.
It's you and a crew of female MCs talking about love and sex. And where did that concept come from? Was it about, bringing women into the Ludacris tent? Or?
I felt like that we were missing a great deal of a female voice.
Yeah.
So I came with an album where you get both the male and the female perspective. And I have records where I'm talking, about women, records where I'm talking to women, and then records where I have these women talking right back to me. And I love doing it. And part of the reason is just so that I could have 4 of the sexiest females in the industry on the same video set all at the same time. So, you had Nicki Minaj, you had Eve, you had Trina, you had Diamond, all on one video set, all on one song. I don't remember or recall something like that happening since, ladies' night.
So let's talk about your creative process, how you write rhymes. Do you write while you're driving sometimes?
I always write when I'm driving. That's mostly how I write my music.
How do you do that?
Well, let me just first give a disclaimer and say that I don't encourage any kids to do what I do while I'm writing. My father, he taught me how to drive with my knees, so I'm a knee driver, and I would write music while I was driving. Now, the reason I write while I'm driving is because I got my sound system the exact way that I want it. This is where I can bring the instrumental back as many times as I want to, ride around, and all these thoughts are coming to me. And nowadays, of course, I've replaced the pen and the pad with my BlackBerry or my iPhone.
So the producer gives you a CD of beats, and you throw them in, and you're just driving around Atlanta, with the knee.
Absolutely.
Type in.
Yeah, with the knee driving, man. I'm a certified knee driver. Believe that. Definitely, it takes a lot of skill.
So the thing that I love about you as an MC is you got a lot of vocal agility. You spit a lot of syllables, very fast, very precisely.
Oh, yeah.
Where does that come from?
Man, I use my voice as an instrument. I have insurance on my voice.
How much?
Man, you don't want to know. Enough to where if my voice goes out, but you better believe I'm gonna be straight. Trust me on that. My voice is everything.
But it's not the sound of your voice, it's the way that you use your mouth when you're spitting.
That's what I'm saying. You have to know how to use your voice as an instrument.
And you're really putting a lot of vocal dynamism in there.
Dynamism.
Yeah,
I love it.
Each word gets its own emphasis and tone and sort of color. And
that is definitely a conscious effort, because the #1 complaint that I hear about rap music from mostly older people is that they can't understand what the hell we are saying. So I make it a point after I spit a verse, you better be able to hear every word that I said, otherwise I'm going back in the damn booth and I'm doing it again.
You are the #1 selling Southern MC of all time, which I think is interesting because the South is kind of polarizing. You have fans throughout the country. How do you achieve that?
I just think it has to do with me growing up and being a fan of all hip hop, everything. I kind of soaked it in at an early age, because I started rapping when I was like 9 years old.
When you were 9, what are you rhyming about?
When I was 9, I had a song and I had to lie and say I was 10 because I had to rhyme with girlfriend. And my first song was, I'm cool, I'm bad, I might be 10, but I can't survive without my girlfriend. Yep. So then when I was 10 years old, I said that rhyme with the utmost confidence. But when I was 9, I was lying.
When you're 9, what inspired you? What made you think to try to MC and that you could do it?
From the very moment I ever heard a Curtis Blow or a Fat Boys or LL Cool J, I instantly fell in love with it. You know what I mean? It's almost like I was born for this.
Now, you've had a lot of MC names as you developed.
Oh man, you did your research on my
Well, I
MC
mean,
name.
can you give me the list?
Man, I'm talking about, I've definitely had a lot of MC names. When I was real young, I remember having Kris Kringle. I was only like 9, 10 years old at this time, so I didn't know no better. I eventually ran out of Santa Claus raps, so I had to change my damn name.
You asked to move to Atlanta to be with your dad so you could get in the industry.
I went down there every summer with him, until I was about 13, 14. And then I moved full time to Atlanta.
And that was something that you really wanted to do.
It's definitely something I wanted to do, just for the simple fact that Atlanta was already, budding as kind of the Motown of the South. You had Criss Cross got discovered down there at a damn mall. So when I got down to Atlanta, I was like, yo, I'm hanging out at the mall all day. You know what I'm saying? If you want some action, you got to go to where the action is. Yeah. Simple as that.
What is it about Atlanta that makes it still so hot, so many artists blowing up coming out of the ATL?
Man, Atlanta is to music right now what Hollywood is to movies, in my opinion. You have the greatest producers, you got so many great talents, so many business-minded individuals, and it's a lot of entrepreneurs in Atlanta, man, and it's extremely inspiring and it's extremely motivating.
When you say entrepreneur, do you mean something more than just a black person who's an entrepreneur? Is there more to it than that?
I'm just playing with the word, man. That's me just being comedic. What kills me is how many, white people come up to me on a constant basis saying how much they loved my character in Crash, and I'm a person that's robbing the hell out of white people.
So you were studying for a music marketing degree at Georgia State, and most MCs...
/ business degree.
Right,
well, go ahead.
And most MCs don't go to college.
So what did you learn there that has helped you in your career?
This music industry is 90% business, 10% music. I just had to educate myself, man. I think that's one of the reasons that I have the longevity that I do today.
Yeah, people think their music, their rhyme style, or their singing ability is so hot, that's gonna carry them. But you're
Never
laughing.
that.
That's ridiculous.
Nah, that's definitely not gonna carry them. And it's funny because a lot of people, they sit there and wonder sometimes, hey, whatever happened to this artist? I guarantee you 9 times out of 10, they didn't have their business together, and that's what happened to that artist.
Did you sign a 7 or 8 album deal with Def Jam?
No, absolutely not. No, I didn't.
What did you have to deliver?
I actually wrote a song called Tell It Like It Is. And one of the things that I said was that the first thing that I did was sign myself to myself.
Right.
I had Disturbing the Peace Records. I incorporated it at a young age. Therefore, if someone wanted to sign me, they had to sign my company.
So you have a unique deal in that way.
Very unique deal. I came out with an independent album and I was selling records on my own, which gave me leverage when Def Jam came to me and said, we want to sign you to a contract. So I'm sitting there like, well, this is what I'm doing on my own. I'm already making this amount of money. What can you do for me that's going to make me interested in signing with your company?
Right.
So I definitely encourage everyone to get as much leverage as you can. And the only way you can do that is by putting your balls on the table. All the way on it. Because, man, it's crazy because a lot of people want success, but they're not willing to do what it takes to get success or to earn success.
The things you talk about, you're funny, but now you're serious, you veer back and forth, and it's like you don't take yourself too seriously, but you still get all the respect.
I think my true fans completely understand when I'm being funny and when I'm being dead ass serious. Different songs, they have different meanings and they have different emotions. And I am definitely one that grew up on comedy. So I love to laugh, and it's displayed through my music.
And it's also displayed in your videos.
Absolutely.
Very playful, very creative. You're willing to be a baby or to be a sort of horror movie figure.
I have, so many different sides to myself. So my job is to give my fans all of those different sides. And I think it's too many people trying to keep it real, but they don't keep it real.
Now,
Your cousin Monica blew up before you.
Yeah.
Did her success make you say, hey, I really can do this? Did she tell you anything that helped you?
Man, a lot of people really do not understand how much I love my cousin Monica.
Anything she told you that you took to heart? Like, okay, good advice.
Man, just continue to be myself. Don't ever try to be like anybody else. Continue to develop your own style and just be confident in who you are. Don't necessarily follow the trends of what's going on. You make trends.
When you were at Hot 97.5,
Yeah.
what was your DJ name?
I made up my name Ludacris before I was at this station. And they were like, man, I don't know if that's such an appropriate name for the morning show. And the person who I originally interned for, her name was Felicia Love. So I was like, all right, we'll just say Chris Lover Lover. I went to this radio station to get into the music industry because I felt like if I can trick everybody at this station into thinking or believing that I actually want to work here, doing whatever job, it will give me enough time to politic with all of the artists and all of the producers that come to this station. So with that being said, I was willing to do whatever it took. I worked for free, it didn't matter.
How old were you?
Probably like about 17 years old. So of course, since I didn't have the money to pay for my own studio time, when everyone was gone at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning, since I worked there, I took it upon myself to use that as my own personal studio, and I made demo tape after demo tape in there.
So you were really grinding.
Man, grinding.
To use that to make Incognito that first album.
Absolutely. I saved up all my own money, got myself in the studio, got my own music mixed, got it mastered, got it pressed up. I pressed up my own flyers, my own posters. I was like a one-man army.
and you're really good at saving money, or you were then when you had to be.
Are you still in that frugal mindset now? Or
Absolutely. I stay in that frugal mindset.
even though you're a millionaire?
Guaranteed. I pay more in taxes than most people would ever imagine. So y'all are hearing a lot about people in the IRS, people owe the IRS this amount of money and this and that. I guarantee you, I'm looking dead in the camera, you will never hear about Ludacris owing the damn IRS no damn money, because I pay in full. Believe that, all the way.
Did you choose to align yourself with Def Jam even though another label offered you more money?
I definitely did. I realized that this label came to me and they were offering me the most money, but I didn't see the longevity at that particular label. So
Right.
You have to think along the lines of, how is my career gonna be and how can I make the most money over the long run, as opposed to just who's offering me the most money right now and this might let up.
At the same point, you tried to get a deal with L.A. Reid. He turned you down.
I got turned down by everybody you
And
could
now
possibly
he's
imagine.
the head of Island Def Jam, and you're there too.
Yeah, man. I got turned down by Puffy. I got turned down by JD.
Dupree.
Man, the list goes on and on. But I still have respect for these people and I love them. I'm able to work with them in the capacity
So-
that we at now.
When you see Puff, you like, ha, you could have had a part of this.
Let me tell you something. Even if I wanted to do that, I can't, because every time he sees me, he reminds me on how he messed up. Damn, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I can't. That's all he tells me. I actually met Bill O'Reilly, and I could see the faces of everybody at his table look at me and look at him when I was walking over there. They thought some real gangster was about to go down.
What made you want to go into acting?
John Singleton reached out to me, and basically he asked me to audition for the Too Fast, Too Furious role, since he was the one that was gonna be directing it. What's crazy is I was on the Eminem tour. So this was like 15 minutes before I had to go on stage, I had to audition for this role. I auditioned for it, I read the sides on tape. Next thing I know, John Singleton called me and said, we want you to be in this movie.
So he just saw you as an MC and was like, yeah, he could do it. Not you trying to get into it.
He saw something in me, which he told me with the videos and so much personality that I displayed. He felt like I was a character. And he felt like if I could do one character, then he wanted to try me out in doing another character.
Let's talk about Crash, because you had a pivotal role in, one of the best films of the decade there.
Yeah.
You interacted a lot with Sandra Bullock's character, who's hardcore racist. There's a lot of racism in the script and in the acting. So is it a difficult sort of vibe on the set when all this stuff is being said? And you're kind of like, damn, she couldn't be acting that well.
That's why I love when we have conversations like this, because even if someone hasn't said it out their mouth or someone hasn't necessarily done it, everyone has thought it. People think it all the time. Everyone has preconceived notions. It's just about you controlling your inner thoughts and trying to check yourself, when it comes to times like this. So no one was tripping on set. We all understood 100% what it was, and we had conversations on and off the camera.
While you were promoting Crash, you did the Oprah Winfrey Show.
The Oprah Winfrey Show, yeah.
Which you kind of had to fight to get on the show because they invited the whole rest of the cast and not you. And then the last minute they said, okay, you can join. And then
The very
for the
last
rest
minute.
of the cast, they're talking about the movie. To you, she's lecturing you about hip hop. What's going on there?
Hey man, your guess is as good as mine. I can't at all fault Oprah for her opinion.
Right.
However, don't praise one entertainment platform on a movie that has this many curse words and is saying just as many words that I may say on my entertainment platform. Don't do that.
After the show, the two of you go off and talk. What was that? Was the tone different there?
The tone is definitely a little different. She was basically trying to say that she was apologizing, so to speak, for me not being invited with the rest of the cast automatically off bat.
So once upon a time, you had a lucrative endorsement deal.
Yes.
And then Bill O'Reilly came along and started spouting and mischaracterizing you, said you glamorized a life of guns, violence, drugs, and disrespect of women.
But he cost you a lot of money because that beverage company said, we're out of business with Ludacris.
Yeah.
How do you feel about all that?
Oh man, I was pissed. Of course I was pissed. When it happened, I was pissed. I wanted to understand how a person like Ozzy Osbourne could have an endorsement contract with Pepsi.
Because
and
they
it-
replaced you with the Osbournes.
This person, which I also am a fan of. However, you're talking about a person who would bite the head off of bats. And he can get an endorsement, yet it's not okay for Ludacris to get an endorsement. So I was definitely pissed, and I couldn't understand.
So your rise has continued, but
Right.
your bank account was affected. Does it kind of scare you that this O'Reilly could just pick you, attack you, and take money out of your bank account?
Absolutely not. Because if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for everything. And I stand for something.
What do you stand for?
I stand for artistic expression. That's what I stand for. I stand for freedom of speech. I stand for my opinion, and I'm gonna give it. I actually met Bill O'Reilly for the first time last year at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And I was there with my mother, and I could see the faces of everybody at his table look at me and look at him when I was walking over there. They thought some real gangster shit was about to go down. I walked straight up to him, and I looked him in his face, and I said, I just had to meet the person that has so much to say about me, but knows absolutely nothing about me. And from there, we had a discussion, and I think he understood more about who I am than what he, wanted to put out there.
So during the presidential campaign, you were enthusiastic about Obama, and you dissed McCain, you dissed Hillary, you dissed
Jesse Jackson too. How do you feel about Obama now?
I feel the same way about Obama. I say, given his circumstances, I'm still very strongly supporting him. You know what I mean? I'm glad everything he stands for, I'm still 100% behind.
Even though you were effusive about him and enthusiastic about him, and his campaign distanced themselves from you and said you should be ashamed of what you run.
I understood why they did that.
You understood the political.
I understood the political aim of why they did that. And since then, I've spoken to all parties, and we're all on the same page.
Do you have a plane?
Absolutely, yeah, I do.
You own your own plane, or you fractional?
I own my own plane.
What do you have?
I have a Hawker 700.
But you also still have the Acura that you drove in 1992 or something?
Yeah, it's a 1993 Acura.
And you still drive it?
I still drive that car more than any other cars that I have.
Because?
Man, because it keeps me grounded, man. This is the car I had before my record deal. I love that car more than anything. Like I always tell people, if something happens to that car, if it breaks down, I might get a little emotional. Straight up. This car has over 230,000 miles on it. And when I drive in it, you know, the windows are tinted and nobody pays me any mind because they, you know, no one thinks that Ludacris is in that car. So I just roll, man, and it keeps me grounded. This is where I write most of my music.
You have a name for the car?
You know what? I call it Goldie. Because it's kind of got that gold kind of color to it. I call it Goldie. Kind of like the Mac. Yeah, so my car is the Mac.
Thanks for
Yes.
being on the record.
Thank you, sir. Perfect.